After Anna and I divorced, everyone thought I wouldn't give up easily because I had painstakingly paved the way for her, allowing her to become a rising best actress in the entertainment industry. Unexpectedly, just after she won an award, she turned around and fell into the arms of Makoto, the entertainment industry's prince. However, no one knew that I was the one who initiated the divorce because I had set my sights on Makoto's wife, Willow, and even willingly accepted an invitation to participate in a swapping marriage reality show. Chapter 1. After Anna and I divorced, everyone thought I wouldn't give up easily. We met when we were both at the bottom. And then, during our career's upward phase, we publicly announced our marriage. After marriage, I secretly orchestrated things, helping her step-by-step transition from a popular actress to a talented performer. Unexpectedly, just when her transformation was successful and she finally won an award, we publicly announced our divorce, abruptly ending our marriage. All her fans thought I wasn't good enough for her and commented, "Anna did the right thing. You should have left him long ago to shine on your own. A kept man is a hindrance to your progress." However, no one knew that I was the one who initiated the divorce. The male actor Makoto, who was co-starring in her new drama, ate the meals she cooked, drank the soups she made, and when they acted as an on-screen couple, I was still preparing anniversary gifts for her, booking her favorite Western restaurant. However, later on, when I went to pick her up from the airport, I ran into Makoto. He greeted me warmly and politely. He whispered, "You know, our flights will share a blanket this time." He did it on purpose, to make me get divorced, as he wished. I went home and packed up all of Anna's things to send them away. I didn't want to keep any used or dirty items. Fortunately, we didn't have any children. Anna leaned against the door, watching me. Her eyes were arrogant, and she disdainfully asked, "What else do you want?" I replied, "Your phone." She paused for a moment, then handed it to me. During our passionate years together, her heart and eyes were always on me, constantly sharing every little detail of her life with me. On WeChat, I was her only pinned chat. But now, I had been replaced, and I was set to do not disturb for her messages. We had an amicable divorce. She was eager to marry Makoto, and to expedite our divorce, she voluntarily gave me most of the assets. She said she truly loved Makoto. After signing a non-disclosure agreement, on the day she left, I thought we would never be in contact again, until the first month after our divorce. She called me again. She said, "Can we meet one more time?" I arrived early, and while passing the lounge, I overheard Anna's manager talking to her. The manager said, "We can't let the fans know you cheated. The drama still needs to air. You're still a top actress after the divorce." While he's stuck at the bottom, waiting to be laughed at, he must be dissatisfied. Just deceive him by saying you want to join a divorce reality show with him. Let him think there's still a chance to reconcile, and he'll do anything to please you. In the end, cut it during the show so the audience thinks he's the villain, and then you can play the victim to establish a devoted image. The manager nudged her and asked, "Are you listening?" Anna crossed her legs, distractedly swiping through her phone, and replied, The manager continued, "You see, as soon as you flirt, he'll come crawling like a dog, grateful and indebted." I curled my lips and headed straight to the conference room. Half an hour later, when Anna casually proposed this idea in the meeting room, I agreed on the spot. I earnestly said, "I'll join the reality show." She looked into my eyes and smiled lightly. "Is it that I can't live without you?" She was too confident and easy to deceive. I lowered my head, looking submissive, and said, "Yes, Anna. Is there still a chance for us?" Her eyes were cold as she turned her face away and softly said, "It depends on your performance." However, she said, "The script for this reality show isn't what you think. This divorce reality show would air during the time she and Makoto are filming their new drama, to hype up her and Makoto's on-screen relationship. The show is themed around swapping lifestyles and exploring marital issues. Makoto and she would share a room. Meanwhile, I would share a room with Makoto's wife, that 19-year-old Willow, who skyrocketed to fame with a single drama, won major awards, then quickly retired from acting to get married. Anna had taken the spotlight from her. Anna became famous for having a face that was 70% similar to Willow's. Rumor has it that after marrying Makoto, Willow and Makoto live apart. He loves her but cannot have her. Chapter 2. Hot Spring Hotel. 2 rooms, separated by a wall. A variety show live broadcast. Inside the venue, there was an observation room. Outside, the audience was sending live comments. The live comments were buzzing. Anna and Makoto are actually on a divorce reality show, sharing one room and getting so involved. The two have an incredible ship vibe, so compatible. I told you Anna and her husband had no feelings for each other. After all, no one likes someone who drags them down. I've been looking forward to their divorce for so long. The staff put heartbeat tracker watches on Anna and Makoto. She said, "When the heartbeat value reaches 90, you can leave the room." The live comments reacted. Did they break the record? But unexpectedly, both their values stopped at 88. Privately, she and Makoto did everything together. Too familiar. Afraid of a slip-up. In the show, however, they pretended otherwise. The live comments discussed. Makoto is so polite. He doesn't dare get too close. Makoto, don't hold back. I'll bet our Anna to you. Makoto sat at the doorway. Anna stood on the balcony to get some air. And through a corner, she could see my side of the room. Willow hadn't arrived yet. I was alone, bored, sitting by the bed wearing the heartbeat tracker watch. Someone knocked on the door. It was a tall, well-proportioned woman with curves in all the right places. She wore a light beige trench coat, loosely cinched at the waist, revealing a white tight-fitting top and high-waisted shorts of the same color, subtly outlining her long, beautiful legs and slender waist. She slightly raised her hand to brush back the damp hair from her forehead, revealing her misty, almond-shaped eyes as a light rain fell outside. She exuded a crispness that matched the deep fog of the night. The live comments reacted. My goddess is back. How to judge Anna? No comparison. No hurt. No pulling each other down. Please. I said to Willow, you need to wear this. I handed the other heartbeat tracker watch to Willow. I remembered Anna was very bothered when others said she looked like Willow. In the first year of marriage, I walked with her on the streets at dawn. I was staring at a giant luxury billboard featuring Willow and couldn't move. Anna grabbed my ear with one hand, covered my view with the other, and angrily said, I knew you liked this kind of look. Now, in another room, Anna on the balcony, watching clearly, watching Willow walk into the room and close the door behind her. She put on the watch. Anna didn't mind, because since that night, she knew that Willow, whom she was deathly jealous of, was married to Makoto because of a contract. Willow didn't even like Makoto, so how could she like an ordinary, ex-divorced George whom she didn't even like? Anna chuckled lightly, seemingly indifferent, but she was scrutinizing my reaction inch by inch. I said, hello, George. My value stayed at 70 as I extended my hand to Willow. She said, hello, Willow. She shook my hand. A few seconds later, the watch emitted a sharp, piercing beep. Willow's value skyrocketed, but she herself remained as calm as ever. She pressed her lips and said, the watch is broken. I said, Chapter 3. After changing the watch, everything worked fine. Anna and Makoto, after completing several sets of coordinated games, had their heartbeat values exceed 90 and left the room early. As for my side, Willow's heartbeat value remained stubbornly at 20, pathetically low. I asked the staff, if it never exceeds, do we have to spend the night in the room? Willow heard this. Her shoulders were straight, wearing a thin white tank top, her gaze cold and detached. The staff replied, consider it a failed mission. You can leave after an hour. Willow and I were the last to leave. The live comments buzzed. That's such a fail. They had zero chemistry together. Please just send them away. Can't you not watch them? I only want to see Makoto and Anna. The comments were bleak until the live broadcast ended. In the backstage rooms, cameras, lights, and crowded people, Anna stood in a corner, watching Makoto being interviewed, her eyes occasionally scanning over to me. She suddenly asked me, are you excited? Was there a moment when you thought Willow might like you? I was too tired for small talk and was about to turn and leave, but she stopped me. She tilted her head and said, what should we do, George? I'm increasingly convinced that divorcing you is the right choice. Someone walked by, and Anna lowered her eyes, remaining silent. She still looked gentle and serene, yet shattered. It seemed like I was the one who hurt her the most. After Makoto finished the interview, he approached me under everyone's gaze, patted my shoulder, and said, George, he said, with a bracelet on his wrist, cherish Anna. She truly loves you. That bracelet. I had seen it before. On our wedding anniversary last year, Anna was followed by a stalker and got into a minor car accident. She was unharmed. I took her up the mountain to pray for her safety, so I bought her this bracelet. Now, it was in Makoto's hand. Makoto continued in front of the camera. Don't be so stubborn. Don't try to control everything too much. I want the best for both of you more than anyone else. I didn't say a word. Anna didn't know. Makoto didn't know either. In reality, I agreed to participate in this reality show for another vague, unspoken reason. When I asked for that bracelet that day, I wasn't thinking about Anna. Chapter 4. The variety show was recorded on weekends. It focused on the concept of weekend spouses. On weekdays, I picked up an old job, trying to return to my original entertainment company as an agent. My former boss told me, Willow and Makoto are already divorced. She signed a 10-year contract with Makoto's father's company, and now she can finally terminate it. She's restructuring her studio, and I've recommended you to her. I went to the address he provided and saw Willow at the studio. Under the lights, her features were naturally charming, her eyes carrying a subtle allure, indeed, a face perfectly suited for the screen. She was harder to approach than I had imagined. I waited outside for a long time. Eventually, Her assistant came out and told me, "Sorry, Mr. Wong, we can't meet today." On the way back, the car broke down. It was 11 o'clock at night, in the wilderness, and it was raining. I held an umbrella, waiting for a tow truck, watching the cars passing by from afar, like one after another night spirits. None were coming to pick me up. A car's headlights flashed in front of me. The window of a red Ferrari rolled down, and Willow's assistant said to me, "Mr. Wong, please get in the car first." Willow was sitting in the back seat, her eyes closed, leaning against the window and sleeping. Her breathing was shallow, her long legs slightly bent. A faint scent of lily of the valley lingered in the air. The same scent from the day she held my hand. The assistant quietly asked, "Mr. Wong, I'm going to buy a bottle of water at the gas station ahead. Do you want one?" I replied, "Call me George. I'll go with you." He waved his hand and said, "I'll go. Be right back." He got out of the car, and once the door closed, it was just Willow and me inside. No one else, no cameras. The car's headlights flickered, and the interior was dimly lit, though separated by a row of seats. Her breathing was so close it felt like it was right beside my ear. I stared out the window at the nearby supermarket glowing with blue light, watching the assistant lingering by a shelf. I remembered once walking through a supermarket and seeing Makoto's advertisement. I had said to Anna, "Isn't that the male lead for your next drama? He looks pretty good." She had rolled her eyes and said, "What's that? He's so fake, has a bad temper, and loves to act high and mighty, looking down on everyone because he's a rich second generation." I didn't know. This pretentious person made her refuse to come home time and again. Later, I learned from others that Makoto was her first love. They broke up when she couldn't make it big. She couldn't forget him. But back then, in the supermarket, she had smoothly changed the subject and asked me, "Brother, have you ever dated anyone before me?" I replied, "No, at least." That's what I told her publicly. In the car, someone was kicking my leg. A pair of long legs extended from the back seat, the toes of high heels lightly sliding over my calf. It wasn't accidental, it was deliberate, playful, rhythmically giving gentle kicks. I pushed her foot aside, neither speaking nor turning around, maintaining the same posture as before, as if nothing had happened. She whispered softly, "George." She spoke up, perhaps just waking up, with a bit of a lazy, soft tone, like an unintentional murmur. She said, "Long time no see. After all these years. Why does she still like to call my name that way? Just like in that small, stuffy rental apartment." I repeatedly drowned in the enchanting, uncontrollable embrace of her mesmerizing tenderness. Chapter 5. After that day, Willow and I didn't keep in touch, until another weekend arrived. The variety show adopted a rotation system. This weekend, the original couple pairing would return, Makoto said. Director. His tone was very sincere, looking out for the show's best interests. He continued, "The audience's preference for Anna and me is too high. If we switch back now, you'll get criticized by the viewers." The director pondered for a few seconds and said, "But," Makoto turned around and asked, "Anna, what do you think?" In front of me, he asked Anna, "Who are you choosing tonight?" He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. A fleeting look of pride and arrogance flashed across his face. Anna understood his meaning. She deliberately glanced at my face, snorted lightly, and said, "Do I need to choose? The audience doesn't want to see him." Makoto got the answer he wanted and then looked at me with a smile, saying, "George, would you mind if I borrow Anna for a few more days? We're doing this for the audience. If you've never been an actor, you wouldn't understand. But for actors, the audience's approval is the most important thing. You need to think about the bigger picture." I interrupted firmly. "All right." My tone was decisive. Anna looked up at me upon hearing this. They both thought I was going to lose my temper. This way, my reaction could be edited into additional scenes, highlighting Makoto's kindness and Anna's grievance. But they didn't expect me to be so agreeable. Makoto, who had painstakingly memorized his lines earlier, found himself with nowhere to say them. After a long pause, he dryly said, "That's good. Don't back out." I said, "Let's keep it this way from now on." He looked slightly stiff, then he smiled again and whispered, "Do you want Anna to get jealous? Who doesn't know you joined the show to win her back? What should we do? Not only is she not jealous, but you can only watch her enter my room helplessly." At that moment, the director's team made an announcement. They decided to continue last week's setup. Before leaving, Anna teased Makoto, asking, "Aren't you afraid of him and Willow sharing a room?" Mentioning Willow's name made Makoto react strongly. He seemed to hear some enormous joke. He disdainfully said, "Have you never seen who she likes? Someone like him, a loser. Even after being locked up together for a year, she can't stand him." The two exchanged glances and shared a knowing smile. In front of me, Anna took Makoto's coat and put it on herself. She said, "George, if you want to win me back, these tactics aren't enough." She wanted to provoke me. Make me get angry in public so that she could naturally become the victim. Anna and Makoto were taken to a luxurious villa. This was the reward for last week's highest heartbeat value pairing. Makoto posted a Weibo update about a candlelit dinner. The live comments buzzed non-stop. I saw all these while scrolling my phone in the show's van. The car was heading towards the old town. The live comments read, "If their heartbeat values don't go up tonight, they're going to be eliminated." Right. Willow won't be eliminated because of her star power, but they should switch partners. Boring. Why did Willow take on this kind of show? The weirder it is, the more I like watching it. I have a feeling something's going to happen. Is that comment from upstairs crazy? If there was any real excitement, I'd be doing a handstand and taking a dump. I put my phone away and asked the staff, "Where are Willow and I staying tonight?" He replied, "You both have the lowest heartbeat values and need to accept punishment. So tonight you can only stay at." The car stopped. He lifted his chin, indicating the old residential building ahead. He said, "Here, the rental apartment." I was speechless. I got out of the car. Only a live broadcast camera inside the car was following me, capturing just my back from a distance. No sound was heard. I stood at the doorway, my mind blank for a few seconds. I took out my phone and called my former boss, who was also my bro. I desperately needed him to give me a reality check. I said, "Willow and I agreed to see each other after a long time." He replied, "Dude, that's one of life's 3 major illusions. Don't overthink it." What else could she be saying besides that? As I expected from my brother. He continued, "To put it bluntly, who doesn't have an ex? She has so many choices. Why would she choose a divorced guy like you? Just because of those few months you depended on each other?" Honestly, that was the lowest point in her life. The worst days she could remember. Who would miss that? He was right. I hung up the phone. I twisted the door open. The room was pitch black. Willow was standing on a chair, desperately trying to reach the ceiling light. When she raised her hand, her wrist was wrapped in bandages. Seeing me enter, she naturally came down and handed the light bulb to me. I climbed onto the chair, and the light in my hand flickered on and off, just like that old-fashioned tungsten bulb from back then. So familiar. She calmly said, "Let's eat." A simple sentence without any extra emotion made my unease stand out. I was overthinking it. To her, this show was probably just a public relations move to safely end her marriage. Outside, it was snowing. She was tall, with delicate features, one hand on the countertop preparing the hot pot. She exuded a married woman's aura. I took a picture of her back and posted it on Weibo. It counted as completing the show's task. After eating, she washed the dishes by herself and inexplicably started laying out the bed sheets. Just one bed. I felt a bit embarrassed and reminded her, I can sleep on the floor." She subtly puckered her lips but didn't say a word. In the awkward atmosphere, I tried to make conversation. "Do you need a new bandage for your injury?" She coldly replied, "I can handle it myself." After taking a shower, I came out of the bathroom to find the blanket already spread on the floor. She was taking a long strip of bandage out of her suitcase. Instinctively, I looked away and took out my phone. Anna sent me a voice message. My hands were wet, and I accidentally played it aloud. Anna saw my Weibo post. Her voice message said, "Can you handle the hot pot? I usually make little cakes, and today I prepared a box for you." When had she ever made me cakes? It was just to maintain her lovelorn persona on the show. I looked at my phone. The overhead light was blocked by Willow. She asked, "Can you help me?" She was holding that roll of bandages. I was speechless. Didn't she just say she could handle it herself? Changing the dressing, wrapping the bandages. I gently squeezed her palm, feeling a wave of warmth from my fingertips. In this northern rental apartment, the heating was insufficient, and the scent of snow mixed with rain seeped through the gaps of the old house. It was clearly cold, yet she and I kept our distance. I carefully wrapped the bandages. She turned her face to look elsewhere, not like that year in the southern rental apartment. Stifling heat with no sunlight, clearly hot, but time and again, it felt like there was no tomorrow, recklessly possessing each other. With a click, the tungsten bulb lit up. At this moment, she and I stood under the light. In that year of extreme poverty and despair, we couldn't even afford to replace a single bulb. We used it as long as it worked. That old-fashioned tungsten bulb was repaired again and again, always flickering in the middle of the night. Back then, 18-year-old Willow said to me, "When it flickers, I'm thinking of you, tonight." A time when nothing is lacking. The tungsten bulb flickered countless times. I looked down and asked Willow, "Did you buy a faulty bulb?" Her expression froze, and she looked directly into my eyes. She said, "Yes, I did it on purpose." I was puzzled. "Why?" She replied, "Once it's fixed, you won't hear it flicker anymore." I was stunned. She took the bandage from my hand and said, "George." She called my name. I asked, "What's wrong?" She said, "Do you prefer hot pot or cake?" People always need to honestly answer questions about food. I replied, Hotpot. Chapter 6. The live comments were abuzz. This awkward, overly cautious vibe feels off. Oh my god. George turned off the lights. What can my esteemed VIP members not watch? In reality, nothing had happened. Willow was lying on the bed. Meanwhile, I was lying on the floor, staring at the other end of the bed, unable to sleep, because her bed was too noisy. Every little movement creaked and groaned. In the past, Willow had complained to me about this, but while voicing her complaints, she would add a worn-out remark. She said, "George, don't hold back. When we were young, we were inseparable day and night." Now, she gently turned over, and with a creak, I remembered the incident. It wasn't just me who remembered. Willow pulled back the blanket, wearing a thin camisole, and got up to go outside. In the deep neon-lit night, she quietly gazed into the distance. Not far away, car lights flashed by. Willow and Anna, who had come out of the car, briefly made eye contact. Anna smiled lightly and said, "I'm here to deliver cakes," Anna explained as she leaned in. Peering through the window, she clearly saw the separate blankets on the bed and the floor, not interfering with each other. She smiled knowingly. Anna pouted and said, "I don't have a good way either. George just likes the cakes I make." Despite not being very close and the other person not responding, Anna inexplicably wanted to seek some presence. She continued, "George can't get used to others making food for him. He always wants me to make it for him, and he rejects what others make. He'll be very happy when he wakes up tomorrow and sees them." Anna raised her eyes and said, "By the way, you might not know, I'm his first love. Is that so?" Willow finally replied to her. Anna said, "Why are you lying to me? George joined the show just to win me back. That cake, I didn't see it when I woke up the next day." The live broadcast ended. During the post-show gathering, the four of us met for the first time. I arrived late, being the last to enter. The staff handed me a microphone. Perhaps the spring was a bit loose, so it kept catching on my collar. Over there, Makoto and Anna were pulling out question cards. I flicked the microphone a couple of times. The microphone actually fell directly to the ground. Willow picked it up. I said, "Thank you." I wanted to take it from Willow's hand, but she didn't let go. Instead, she leaned closer, tiptoed, and helped me clip it onto my collar. A second later, she took a band-aid from her pocket. I was speechless. A familiar children's band-aid, covered with cartoon oranges. Every time I got injured before, she would force me to wear this conspicuously. As she stuck the microphone on, she adjusted it effortlessly. This wasn't an overly intimate gesture, just colleagues looking out for each other. After all, there were cameras and people around. She said, "It stuck." The wires were tangled together. She had to move a bit forward. Over there, Anna's voice came through. Her peripheral vision scanned me and Willow. A very normal action. If Willow hadn't subconsciously brushed against my chest, her scent was too familiar. She used the same shampoo without changing. Even after all these years, the scene suddenly fell silent. Anna abruptly stood up. Willow withdrew her hand and politely said to me, "Sorry, I accidentally brushed against you." The host realized and saved the moment by saying, "It happens often. Let's continue with the questions." After all, it was just a momentary touch and then moving away. Anna didn't even have time to clearly see. It should have been just an accident. She sat back down. Question and answer game. When it was my turn to draw a card, I drew the first love card. The host asked me, "Is your first love your favorite?" Anna rested her chin on one hand, looking at me. Everyone's eyes wandered between me and Anna. Everyone thought my first love was her. I replied, "Yes." Upon hearing my answer, Anna sat up straight, couldn't help but glance towards Willow with a hint of pride. But the other person was distracted. Willow turned her face, looking out the window at the falling snow. My reflection was mirrored in the window. The host then said, "Same question. Please Willow answer." She and I were a pair. The question on the card was the same. Makoto wasn't her first love. No one knew who that person was. She pressed her lips together and said, "He hates me. He really hates me." Willow's tone was extremely soft. So soft that her trailing tone carried an unheard of sense of grievance. Everyone present perked up, ears tuned to gossip. The host asked her, "Why does he hold such a grudge? What did he do?" She turned her head, elongating her tone. "For example, marrying someone else but saying his true love is someone like me." Disjointed and incoherent. No one understood, but Anna couldn't help but slightly furrow her brows. The host flipped the last card. She asked, "George, what would you like to say to your first love now?" 100 safe responses floated to my mind, but I blurted out, "I hope she doesn't hate me too much." Very reasonable. Everyone present could understand. They all thought I wanted to rekindle things with Anna. Anna was even more proud, raising her eyebrow to tease me, not intending to give me any leeway. Until the same question, Willow answered, "I just lied to him earlier. I don't hate him." Anna began to realize something was off. Chapter 7. Sunday night. In today's live broadcast, both groups had to return to the original Hot Spring Hotel. To create more topics, the production team had all four of us squeezed into the same car. The live comments were still mainly discussing Anna and Makoto. But the direction was subtly shifting. The live comments read, "Think about it carefully. If you weren't as blind as Anna, you would choose to join us." Jumping right in front of the main couple, Anna is still happily counting her money. Someone countered, "It's just a coincidence." Willow and George never interacted before. The discussions between Willow and me had increased significantly. Some enthusiastic fans even created a shipping hashtag for Willow and me. So, before getting into the car, the host secretly handed me a mission slip. She said, "Open it once you're in the car. Only you can see it." Makoto was driving the car, equipped with cameras inside. Anna naturally sat in the passenger seat. Makoto looked helpless, purposely turning his head to gauge my reaction. He said, "Hey, your wife gets carsick easily. She'll sit in the passenger seat. You don't mind, do you?" Anna also turned her head, trying to see how I would react, hoping I'd get upset and then step forward to play the innocent, aggrieved girl to apologize. But instead, I ignored her completely and sat in the back seat with Willow. When the traffic light turned red, both Makoto and Anna glanced through the rearview mirror towards the back seat. Anna looked at me. Makoto was looking at Willow. Meanwhile, Willow and I sat at opposite ends of the seat, maintaining the greatest distance possible. As the traffic light turned green, Makoto said, "George." He took Anna's hand and showed me the new ring on her finger. It was the one Makoto had given her last night. In front of the cameras, he said, "Don't get the wrong idea. This ring represents the ship between our characters in the show. I showed it to you to prevent you from overthinking. But you probably can't understand the love Anna and I have for our roles, right? After all, among the four of us, you're the only one who's not an actor and has no career ambitions." He spoke incessantly, trying to see a hint of jealousy or resentment on my face. He was speaking both to me and to Willow. Unfortunately, Willow was asleep as soon as she got into the car. I kept my head down, staring at the small mission slip, my mind blank. It read, "Hold Willow's hand without being noticed by the other group." Earlier that morning on the highway, it was wide with few cars. On both sides, tropical plants stretched out like a sea of green. Bright and gentle winter sunlight bathed half of the car. Everywhere was under the sunlight. The navigation system alerted. "Ahead. Enter the tunnel." I glanced sideways. Willow had her eyes closed, her fair and delicate hands dangling in the air. Hold her hand. She probably wouldn't notice. Darkness enveloped us, with only the tunnel lights flickering by. I mustered up the courage. I reached out to touch her hand. She was supposed to be asleep, so she took a shallow breath and moved her hand away. Did she notice? I sighed, wanting to retract my hand but fearing it was too obvious, so I placed it in the middle of the leather seat. Makoto continued taunting. "George, don't you think the one who's being cheated on in the marriage also has some faults? If he can't keep his wife, don't blame others for stealing her away." The tunnel was so short that my hand hadn't even time to withdraw. The car was already back in the sunlight. I turned my face, ready to pull my hand back, but in that instant, I was gently pulled back, soft and delicate. In the next second, our fingers intertwined. Old-fashioned love songs played on the car radio. They sang in an upbeat tone about a man who discovers his wife is cheating, getting up early, leaving his lazy wife at home, and flying away, waiting for his wife to wake up and realize he's already gone. The song kept repeating one line. "She should realize it soon, right? She should realize it soon, right? She should realize it soon, right?" 5 seconds before the song ended, Anna, sitting in the passenger seat, annoyed by my lack of response to Makoto, said through the rearview mirror, "So some people deserve to be betrayed." She was too focused on my facial expressions to notice the tightly clasped hands in the back seat leather. I forgot. Willow is a possessive, Yandere girl. We can't hold hands in the dark, but we need to hold hands, only under the sunlight. Chapter 8. The third season's weekend live broadcast was an outdoor shoot. The Hot Spring Hotel was located in another neighboring city with a long winter coastline. The host sat on the bus, going through the process flow. "Today I just found out that Willow and George grew up in the same place." The theme for this episode was returning to the city where Willow studied. Previously, no one thought we would have any connection. Anna in the front row furrowed her brows slightly, her gaze fixed on me sitting at the other end. Willow shook her head and said, "No, I was just studying here temporarily." Willow had a difficult childhood, which was well known in the industry. An abusive stepfather and a gambling mother. These were points of attack by detractors before. Anna looked down on Willow's background, her tone icy and ambiguous. "I didn't know your life was like this. Seriously, what do you have to show off about?" Anna's tone was very dissatisfied because she had disliked Willow for a long time. She always believed that Willow's ability to win awards was because she met Makoto's father when she was 19, an entertainment mogul within the industry. He almost changed Willow's life trajectory. Now, with Willow and Makoto divorced and no longer contracted with the company, she was a completely resourceless person, and those resources would now belong to Anna. No one in the car dared to respond. I spoke calmly. Her difficult past has made her stronger than some spoiled heiresses. Even with such a huge disparity in starting points, some people will always find it hard to keep up. After getting off the car, we walked along the city streets exploring shops. The group arrived at Willow's former school, 13 High School, built along a hillside. The school overlooked a vast sea right outside the gate. Anna walked beside me and asked, "Are you also from 13 High School?" I had mentioned it before, but she never remembered. I replied, "Yes." She let out a light laugh, but her eyes were cold as she asked, "Don't you know Willow?" I replied, "No." With 25 classes in a grade, we weren't in the same cohort. Willow walked behind us. Upon hearing this, she looked up, her dark eyes staring straight at me. Willow said, "He's a year senior student." The term senior annoyed Anna inexplicably. She quickened her pace, muttering about going to the next place. At the bus stop, the host, on behalf of the live audience, asked Willow, "Was your first love also a classmate at 13 High?" She replied, "Yes." Willow had somehow stood beside me, turning her head to listen to the host without looking at me. She said, "He's a bit fierce." Chapter 9. She kept saying that about me, in a grade with over 1,000 students. Logically, Willow and I might never have met after graduation, but if she hadn't always been late, and I happened to be the diligent class officer who tracked latecomers, our paths would still rarely cross. She acted coquettishly. "Can you not remember my name?" 16-year-old Willow, slender and pure, looked up at me with an expression full of grievance. I replied sternly, "No." She said she was late because she went to watch an important free underground film festival earlier. Those useless arts things parents often talk about. No money made, no food earned. She pressed her lips and said, Her tone was so obedient that I thought she was about to register for class. However, in the next second, she turned around with her backpack and ran, running while looking back. Her clean, watery eyes carried a hint of mischief. She said, "Senior, since we're both late, why don't I go watch a bit longer?" I disliked anyone who didn't follow the rules. David said, "George, look, high schooler Willow has been confessed to again." At that time, my former restroom buddy, now my boss and brother, was lying on the corridor, watching the influential figure under the school corner tree. I replied coldly, "I don't like disobedient people." To my surprise, Willow actually heard me. How did she have such good hearing? Her bright eyes glanced my way. We were supposed to have no connection. Until that day, someone followed me home. I told my mother, but she was busy divorcing my father. After listening, she turned her head and only said to me, "If I divorce your father." Her face showed extreme, cold sorrow. "I only want your sister." My sister was likable. She had an early romance with a social youth, didn't want to date anymore, and found someone even more handsome, but she didn't want to be the bad person. Turning her head innocently to the person, she said, "My brother doesn't approve of us being together." That social youth was the person who stalked me. He found my number and messaged me. He said, "I know which class you're in. Wait for me. Even if you stay in detention for a few days, I'll make your pathetic mother shed some blood." On my way home, dark figures kept following me. They could do anything. In the alley behind 13 High School. Night snow. The sound of footsteps grew denser and closer. I clenched the compass in my hand, stood still, and tried to calm my nerves. At that tense moment, a female voice rang out. "I've already called the police. I said you guys were harassing and stalking me and taking photos secretly. They only intended to give me a lesson, but didn't expect to get arrested." Under the strong deterrence, they were scared off. On my way home, she followed me from behind. She cautiously said, "Senior, actually, I'm very, very scared." I was terrified just now, pretending to be brave. She acted more like it than anyone else. I felt guilty and said, "I'm sorry, I dragged you into this." She walked up to me and stopped. Shadows blocked the glow of the streetlights. She shook her head and said, "No." Her voice was clean and melodious. She said, I'm the kind of person who is very obedient and well-behaved." I believed her. Those pure eyes looked at me without any impurities. If it weren't for the next day when I saw her taking a group of delinquents to teach those social youths a lesson. And then she was late again, recklessly registering the name Yuyaway on my notebook. In my second year of college, I was studying in the provincial capital. My sister called me. She said, "Mom still doesn't want to see you. Who told you to look like Dad?" I asked her. What are you trying to say? She let out a sly laugh. She said, "Do you have the phone number of that pretty girl Willow from your high school? My boyfriend really likes her. Can you help me contact her? Because of blood ties." I was always reluctant to completely cut things off, but that day, I blocked her contact information. 4 decades, until I got married and divorced, I never contacted her again. At that time, Willow had just finished her college entrance exams. We hadn't been in touch for 3 years. Completely strangers. Chapter 10. The 3rd season received a good response, so the production team decided that the 4th episode would visit my city. However, this would repeat what was done in the previous episode. The host asked, "Where did you attend university?" The production team decided to go there and take a look. I replied, "South City." As soon as I finished speaking, the staff were surprised and asked, "Isn't that also the city where Willow went to university?" Anna raised her eyes, staring directly at me. That strange and palpable unease on her face became increasingly obvious. Before the 4th live broadcast, I bumped into Anna and Makoto's new drama finale. According to her agent's original plan, by this promotional stage, the barrage of insults about me on Weibo should have been overwhelming. But reality was the opposite. Due to my indifference in the show's explosive setup, our eerie ship with Willow was subtly trending upwards. The live comments read, "Although George and Willow aren't familiar in public, it feels like things aren't that simple behind the scenes." I also want to say, the atmosphere in the car during the 2nd episode was a bit strange. I'm sick of it. I have a condition where if Anna isn't unhappy, I'm too happy. Anna's agent turned around and bought time for Anna's years-long search trends. Various terms with my name cycled through several rounds. A small account on the Square posted a Weibo saying, "Actually, the two have already divorced." It received over 1,000 likes within an hour. That small account liked every comment supporting Anna and Makoto in the comments section. Half an hour later, it posted a photo of me. In the photo, I looked disheveled and pale. The caption read, "No wonder my wife ran away looking so messy." This photo was taken by Anna when she was suffering from dysmenorrhea at home. At that time, I endured a severe cold to cook porridge for her. She pouted, insisting that when she was uncomfortable, she only drank what I cooked. She coquettishly said, "Take a picture." I didn't like taking photos, but she insisted on documenting her husband's kindness to post on her moments, so she dragged me to take it. Later, when collecting divorce evidence and going through her phone, I discovered that photo. She immediately posted it to Makoto. She said, "He's so greasy, I can't stand it." Underneath that photo, the comments weren't as the small account had anticipated. Some rational netizens began to scold him. "Is doxing fun? This photo is too private. Seriously suspect your identity. Who doesn't look like this at home?" That small account kept deleting comments and, seeing the situation worsen, had to delete the photo. The night before the live broadcast started, Anna called me to ask, "Did you create a small account to curse Makoto?" She sent me a screenshot. I recognized that ID. It was her fan who was undermining Makoto and Anna. Anna's career was booming, and it was a critical period for her reputation. From the outside, it seemed she hadn't divorced yet and took this explosive variety show to stir up a ship with Makoto, which was simply ridiculous. They thought she was possessed by me. Although it attracted many ship fans, the more combative supporters quickly dropped off. But who would have thought she was also forced into it? Taking this show was just to whitewash her infidelity and dump the dirty water onto me, I calmly said. "Those were fans who supported you before. Did you forget?" She questioned. "Wasn't it you?" I replied. "Of course not." Her remarks made me laugh. I was about to hang up the call, but she said, "Anyway, Makoto is so unhappy because of you. Even though I know it might not be your fault, can you apologize?" I laughed. "Anna, are you mad that Makoto is unhappy? Or mad that your supportive fans are leaving?" She was hit by my words and her tone became much calmer. She sarcastically said, "Do you really believe those netizens' ghost stories about you and Willow?" She snorted coldly and continued, "Why don't you go like Willow? Stop liking me. You're too exhausted." In the past, I would have shown weakness at this point, but now, I blurted out, "All right," she coldly said. "I knew you wouldn't agree. Why are you so spineless?" She spoke smoothly, only to realize halfway through. Surprised, she asked, "What did you just say?" I was too lazy to repeat myself and hung up the call directly. During the weekend live broadcast, Anna's agent was waiting for me to lose my temper, but unexpectedly, it was Anna who had the problem. Makoto helped Anna blow her hair. After finishing, Anna coquettishly leaned towards him. Nothing unusual, but there was a small issue. When she coquettishly called out, she said, "George, love you." As soon as she said it, she didn't realize something was wrong. Only when she saw Makoto's stiff expression did she realize what she had said. That night, Willow didn't attend the live broadcast. Last year, Willow made a comeback, and her film was nominated for top international awards. Tonight, Her flight was leaving for abroad. I wandered alone in this city that had been familiar to me years ago. When I returned to the hotel, I saw Anna waiting for me at the door. Wasn't she supposed to accompany Makoto for dinner? The production team said Anna had voluntarily requested to switch back to the original couple pairing. The host said to me, "The show was originally set up this way, just for tonight. Hotel suite." I checked the positions of all the cameras around. Anna entered the room, with a cold and detached expression. On the brown glass table, there was a spread of dishes. She said, "Let's eat. I made this myself." After being married for so many years, she had never done this before. Seeing me not picking up my chopsticks, she asked, "What's wrong, George? Aren't you enjoying your meal over there?" I confessed, "Looking at your face, I can't eat." Her pupils constricted. She frowned and pressed her lips together, trying hard to suppress her frustration. Finally turning into a gentle smile, she said, "George, I only accompanied Makoto for 2 weeks because of work. Why are you still so stern? It's all for work needs. If you care, then let me apologize to you." Anna was so gentle and serene in front of the camera. She also habitually thought that as long as she showed a little goodwill, I would meekly follow along. But I wasn't like that. When I moved things to another room, her face turned red. She sat alone at the dining table, watching the dishes slowly cool. I didn't leave the room again. She let out a dissatisfied snort and immediately called for room service, dumping the entire table of food. That night, I didn't sleep well, especially in my dreams. I was kissed, left on my cheek, light but real, carrying the coldness of a hurried winter night. The room key was accessible to every staff member, so I couldn't determine what happened yesterday. The next day after the live broadcast, during breakfast, Anna was in a good mood. After last night's performance, the audience's perception of her had improved significantly. The live comments read, "I feel so sorry for Anna. Why does George have to do this? This show is just a couple swapping romance reality show. Even though it's unique, why did he still join? Makoto, come save Anna." The comments above are messed up. Anna called Makoto by the wrong name. It's disgusting for fans, and she's still trying to maintain her lovelorn persona. How hard is it to talk about liking or not liking someone after a divorce? Rumor has it, they're already divorced. Anna's agent told her that the initial hype was sufficient and that they would likely announce her and my divorce in the next episode. Taking me out for a stroll, she would perform once more as the heartbroken woman betrayed by her husband. In the final episode, Makoto would heal her, spreading some sweetness. The two of them would then be perfectly whitewashed. Anna's agent warned her, "This episode is crucial. No matter what happens, don't throw a tantrum." She sipped her coffee, her eyes fixed on me, confident of victory and indifferent. She replied, "Whatever happens." After hanging up the call, she knew I heard everything clearly, but she was sure that even if I knew, I couldn't stir up any trouble. After all, I had signed a confidentiality agreement and received a huge compensation. She asked, "Does it make you sad?" With a disdainful look in her eyes, she said, "No matter what, you can't surpass Makoto, nor can you win me." Her lips parted and closed while she kept talking. I looked at her, not listening with my ears. Only when she paused her coffee, I asked, "Last night, was it you who kissed me?" The room door was open, and staff members were coming and going with various equipment. She instinctively replied, "Why would I kiss you?" She frowned, realizing something was wrong. The room suddenly fell silent. The outside staff's idle chatter became exceptionally clear. They discussed, "Why do you have milk tea?" Another replied, "At 5 a.m., Willow delivered breakfast and desserts to all the staff." "Didn't you get any?" He said, "I went to take a dump and missed out on $1 billion. Another comforted, "Here, have mine." "Don't be upset." That person asked, "Why did she come back? Wasn't she supposed to go to the film festival?" Another replied, "She said she had something important to do before leaving, so she flew from Beijing and then abroad again. She must be exhausted." That person added, "Yeah, heard she's also running a fever." "Who kissed me?" I could guess. Anna could too, but she didn't believe it. She closed the door and chose not to listen. Yet she didn't turn around. She coldly said, "Sounds like a lie." She leaned over and pointed at me, scolding, "You knew she came back last night and intentionally lied about someone kissing you. Are you ashamed, George? Did you do this to make me angry? Did you really think she could like you? If," she kept pointing at my chest, saying, "if she really fell for you because I took her husband, it's just her revenge for being hurt. Do you understand?" After finishing, she grabbed her water cup and poured it over my head. She said, "You clown, why are you trying to show off? Are you running around being someone's dog? But it makes sense. It's your usual style. If you didn't do this, who would like you?" I listened calmly as she spoke. The next second, I grabbed the long brochure on the coffee table and tightly rolled it up, whipping it at her incessant mouth, with a crisp slap sound. She was stunned, and a drop of blood quickly appeared at the corner of her mouth. She stared blankly at me and said, How? How could you? Outside, the host was knocking on the door. She said, Anna, we found something. Panicked, she wiped the blood from her lips and said, wait a moment. Ignoring the pain, she stuffed the stained paper into the trash can. She opened the door. The host was startled and asked her what happened. She replied, nothing. I just bumped into something. She asked the host what he was holding in his hand. Only then did the host see me inside the room, calmly picking up the brochure and politely placing it back on the coffee table. Not to cause unnecessary trouble for the staff, the host stammered. Anna, already irritated from the pain and annoyed, grabbed the paper and looked at it herself. It was an extremely ordinary registration form, very old, just a photocopy. It recorded the monthly rent status of a certain rental apartment. The tenant was my name, 800 yuan. Everyone who paid rent had to confirm with their own handwritten signatures, but that signature, at that moment, separated by a flight distance of more than 10 hours to the red carpet of the film festival. The handwriting on the backdrop was identical to it. Willow, Chapter 11, South City, long and humid summer. During the summer vacation of my second year in college, I met Willow. I was working part-time at a tutoring center downstairs, while she was modeling upstairs. We knew each other but never greeted. After all, how familiar can people be who hadn't been in contact for 3 years? She would come back to school, crossing the entire city, a whole 3.5 hours on the bus. Meanwhile, I had rented a temporary apartment nearby. That hottest night of the summer was a typhoon day. I was the last to lock the door. I saw a group of people laughing and talking as they passed upstairs. Willow stood out even more. Standing out conspicuously in the crowd, she never once looked at me. When I reached the elevator, they had already left. It was empty. Actually, a simple greeting would have been nice. After all, we were former classmates. I grabbed my backpack and went downstairs. The night the typhoon came, it wasn't raining. The sky, which should have been like a splash of ink, was dyed an unusually deep pink. Willow was standing there, wearing a fluffy skirt suit and paired with low twin ponytails. She looked very obedient. Her eyes were defenseless. Under the porch light, those eyes carried the clarity of a summer night. Like a stray little kitten, she pitifully said, Senior, the bus is cancelled. That night, I took her back to the single-room apartment I had rented for 800 yuan. The bed was pitifully small. Later, when she stood on the stage of the highest award ceremony, receiving the Best Actress award and being chased by the audience, I was still in that tiny rental apartment eating instant noodles. The only thought flashing through my mind was one thing. Her first time at 19, cramped on my small bed. She truly felt wronged. I didn't understand. Many media descriptions of her were that of a cold goddess, arrogant and unruly, but in my memory, that summer she was always obedient. She was so well behaved, doing all the housework, cooking 3 meals a day, always calling me senior, only in bed, incredibly charming, whispering in her throat, George, crossing boundaries. No matter how I spoke, she didn't listen. Later, I realized her talent was entirely in her acting skills, and the modeling agency upstairs where I worked didn't actually exist. 3.5 hours. Just to see me. Chapter 12. Anna wasn't angry, but she seemed to have been drained of all emotions, recognizing a fact within seconds. My first love wasn't her. It was a woman who resembled her 7/10, a woman she wanted to take but couldn't, someone who won an award at 19. Since the day she debuted, Anna had been treated as her substitute. Anna crumpled the paper in her palm, saying nothing more. She coldly said, "What's the big deal? It's something from hundreds of years ago. What does it represent?" She turned to leave without even looking at me, but at the doorway, she suddenly fainted to the ground. As Anna's agent had hoped, she looked terrible in this episode. Everyone thought she was heartbroken and hospitalized for love. It immediately trended on the hot lists. When Anna woke up, I was in the hotel tidying up. She looked around the hospital bed but didn't see me. She instinctively asked Makoto, who had been guarding her, "Where is my husband?" Makoto, angry and trembling, slapped her several times. The variety show paused indefinitely. Makoto came to find me once. He had already gotten her, yet he kept trying to show his presence in front of me multiple times, as if he needed my involvement. Only then would his and her love have an anchor point. She began to get tired of his dullness. He also started to can't stand her antics. It was becoming more and more like how Anna and I were at that time. As the passion faded, they would face the same problems I did. Now, he sat in front of me, emotionally overreacted, leaving only a cold gaze and slightly trembling hands. He asked me, "George, why do you never get angry?" I didn't answer him and stood up to leave. He laughed. He said, "Let me tell you a secret. Marrying Willow was a lie he concocted. He thought he could eventually warm up Willow's icy heart. After all, she had been saved from that 800 yuan rental apartment by his father's help. She would still be an 18-line minor internet celebrity otherwise. He thought she would at least admire him, because Willow spent her life rushing to Rome, while Makoto was born in Rome. But she didn't. Makoto said. I thought a woman like her would never love anyone, but do you know what I discovered after getting married? All her passwords were 207. At first, I thought it was someone's birthday, but later I realized it was the door number of that crappy rental apartment. Turns out she always thought of the person she loved during those unbearable times. How ridiculous. I had more vacation days, finished processing my visa, dragging my luggage to the airport, and sitting in the lounge watching a drama. A person sat next to me, fully armed. It was Anna. She whispered, "We need to talk." At the airport, in front of the large glass windows reflecting the blue sky, she wore a black dress, looking much thinner. She asked, "What was your real reason for joining the show?" She asked herself. Was it not to win me back, but to see her, right? Even getting married to me was just because I looked like her, right? I didn't speak, counting the boarding time. She bit her lip. George, is it fun to lie, to treat my feelings like a prank and act like someone's dog? I interrupted her. Asterisk, where are your feelings coming from? Asterisk, you're the one cheating, the one saying you love Makoto so much, the one who actually wanted to smear me by taking the show. I'm just repaying in kind. Why are you acting like a victim? If I really were a simp, would you feel guilty questioning me like this? Anna, it's what you said yourself. I returned her words. Some people deserve to be betrayed. Time was up, and I turned to board the flight. When my phone was off, I received a text from Anna. She said, "I will destroy both of you." Chapter 13. Understanding pain only when you hurt yourself. Anna always believed this. If Willow's and my reputations were ruined, I would go back to find her. But Anna couldn't tell whether this impending revenge was because of my departure, or because over the years, people in the industry always mention Willow whenever they see her. The desire to destroy, suppressed for too long, was stronger than ever. She had this divorce reality show completely re-edited from start to finish, producing a full-length live broadcast on the day it was released. She specifically chose the day Willow received her award on stage. Anna's Weibo only posted one sentence. He was the one cheating. Divorced. Public opinion erupted. Anna and her agent both thought this was a first-move advantage and they were sure to win. George is just an amateur, and Willow has no resources. Their team can't keep up. A whole night passed. Anna was shaking with excitement, not even having time to open Weibo and celebrate. Then the door was knocked. She was arrested. Her agent was also arrested, on the day of the agreed divorce. She thought I was so sad that I couldn't control myself. Looking at her phone, she thought I was only trying to confirm whether she had ever loved me, but little did she know. I was gathering evidence. The day Makoto approached me on the plane. The plane landed. I was the first to call my brother. I said, "I've always suspected that Anna and her team were evading taxes. My brother taught me how to collect evidence and how to report them." Later, he reminded me. Asterisk, the process of gathering evidence is long. You better play the full role. Isn't she asking you to participate in that stupid variety show? Just go and play along with her. Lower her guard. I went. My original intention was revenge. Meeting Willow was an unexpected event. The full version of the live broadcast that Anna posted that day was repeatedly analyzed by uploaders on a certain platform. After the smart brains of netizens and various marketing accounts trolling efforts, they finally discovered that it was Anna and Makoto who were cheating. Dates, times, and locations matched one by one, and my reunion with Willow happened after both of us had divorced. A purely low-probability coincidence. The day the plane landed abroad, I sneaked backstage using the work ID Willow's assistant gave me. The celebration banquet had already begun. A close friend got excited and asked Willow, "Do you dare to make a bet?" The music was blasting, and she covered her ears, asking, "What are we betting on?" The other party leaned close to her ear and whispered something softly. She nodded and said, "I bet." She lost the bet and accepted the punishment, being surrounded and patted on the head by her friends. A purple-toned evening party, gold leaf falling from the sky. Willow walked towards the light. Her eyes were veiled with a faint layer of tears. Her friend teased her. "No, sis, you were acting so fiercely during filming when Ma stepped on you and you went to the hospital without saying a word. Now, you get patted on the head and your eyes turn red. What are you acting for?" Willow turned her head and replied, "Mind your own business." Someone raised an eyebrow and pointed to me standing at the door, telling her friends, "The one who's going to care has arrived. You better act more." Willow pushed them away, amidst the crowd. We locked eyes, and she walked towards me. I asked, "What did you bet on earlier, and how did you lose it?" She replied, "They said, let's bet on whether I can see the person I love the most tomorrow. I said I can't, so I lost." She walked up to me, snuggled into my arms, and said, "Today, I will see him." Chapter 14. You say she was so obedient. Many years later, When David heard me describe Willow this way, he laughed for at least 10 minutes. He said, "Bro, how is that possible?" He continued, "If Willow were just a delicate flower, she wouldn't have made it this far." The kind of family downfall talked about online. A joke to others, but a harsh reality for Willow. She was truly born to her mother in a public restroom. She didn't know who her biological father was. She stayed with her mother. By 7, she had learned how to buy groceries and cook, watching her mother get drunk, watching her mother being beaten by men again and again, yet unable to leave. When she was young, every time, she would apply medicine to her mother's wounds, curling up beside her, warming her hands. She loved her, unconditionally, because she was her mother. It wasn't until high school that she realized her mother had been destroying other people's families all along. She followed the traces, from school to someone's home. She didn't dare to approach. Inside, the woman was endlessly hysterical, while the men remained cold and abusive. The little girl squatting on the stone steps outside could only draw aimlessly in the sand, trying to make herself invisible. At that moment, Willow wished she could take her mother's place and die, just like later, when Makoto's father gave her the opportunity to become famous, signing her for 10 years, the most precious 10 years of her acting career. All the wealth she created, not a single penny stayed with her. It all went into Makoto's father's pocket. She couldn't leave, working day and night to make money, with compensation reaching billions. She would never be able to repay it in her lifetime. No one knew how much she suffered. In her most painful year, she thought about ending it all. After all, from birth to death, she was constantly atoning for her sins. In her room, in the cramped old flip phone, she dialed countless numbers. 207. Too painful, she thought. As long as I didn't want him anymore, she would just die. But there was no such time. Every moment, she thought of him. That year, when Makoto's pursuit of her dominated the trending searches, I thought she would never come back to find me again. By a twist of fate, I married Anna. After all, I needed a stage to showcase my talents. I didn't want to stay alone in that 800 yuan rental apartment. A year later, Willow saw the announcement of my marriage trending as well. At that time, Makoto's father was critically ill. That man who had been both a benefactor and a tormentor to her, after being tormented repeatedly by illness, agreed to let Willow go. He said, "As long as you marry Makoto and help Makoto acquire equity, you can get a divorce, and I'll let you go." She agreed, married, divorced, and then left. Makoto wanted her to appear on a variety show. She saw my name. That night, she braved the rain to come. The hot spring hotel, after a long separation, holding the heartbeat detecting watch. The first thing I said to her was, "You need to wear this." Willow thought. What to do? I can't deceive him. She didn't know. How far must familial bonds be repaid to achieve liberation? She didn't know. How long must favors be repaid to be clean? In this world, there is no unconditional love, she thought. But George only cares about her happiness. Chapter 15. That year, praying on the mountain, I closed my eyes. A vague, unspoken wish. May Willow be happy. May everyone be able to meet the person they want to see. No matter how many years pass,